Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Books Block, the series where I bring my fantasy novel to life in Minecraft, one block at a time. In today's episode, we're going to be working on bridges. As you can see over here, this will be the first bridge that I plan to do. So here by the fishing village. So the bridge that'll go over this gap. So let's start getting that built, and then we can discuss other types of bridges. Alright, here we are on the outside, in the kind of flat plains outside the mountain range, just to show you the progress I went through in making this bridge. So to start off with, I built it just in a straight path. It's a lot easier than doing any angled things. So it's a good way of just getting your design down for the structure. A lot of things will change when you rotate it, but as you can see this one over here, this is the manually rotated one. So I kind of took a look at this one and rotated it as best as I could. As you can see, it's very lopsided. So then I went in and I used Axiom to rotate it. So what you do is you cut, and you go over top here to rotate and scale. For this one, it's the y-axis, or the rotate the y. And then I'm doing a 45-degree angle. As you can see, non-90 degrees are lossy. That just means it won't be a perfect rotation. So I go there, and then that rotates it like that. You can come out and kind of see how it will look. And then if I paste this in, you can see obviously the stairs are very messed up, so you then have to come in and fix them manually. If you look down under here, it did a decent job of rotating underneath, but then, so this is what it turns into when you clean it up. And this is what the final product looks like. So you just have to use this to get the general shape down, and then you fix it up. Get rid of all these little errors here like this. So you can see kind of the walls got pasted in weird. But I think this is a good way of rotating your builds if you've already done it in just a straight one-way path. Alright, so our next bridge will be the one over here by the starter village. Little update, you can see I've made the pathing I've used from my pathing video just to kind of help around this area, give it a little bit more planning. So if you come along here, you come over to this area, and I mentioned multiple times that I wanted to do a kind of like a bridge over this area instead of fixing the terrain all the time. There will be times when I go around and fix the terrain to make it smoother, but for this one I think a bridge would look really nice. So let's build that, and then I'll show you how I built it after that. Alright, and here it is all built up. So you can kind of see I went from the color, just easy planning stage using different colors, all the way to painting it. So I got a mix between regular stone bricks and then the cracked. Same for the deep slate bricks. Sadly, Tough don't have that, so it's just one solid for that bit. But you can kind of see the way I did it. I got the path, and then I made the arch, and then filled in the in-between. So let's go over to the planning area, and I can show you the different steps. Alright, so here we are on the planning side of the world. As you can see, there's the mountains, some more planning stuff I've been working on. And here's a little demonstration on how I designed this bridge. So what you want to do is you want to pick your width of your bridge. So I chose 4 for this one. Then you want to set up 2 things on either side of your cliff faces. You then go in with the smear tool, so this one here, and you select one side, and you smear to get it to the other side. Up, and then up 2. So then it's holding this same place, and then right click to confirm, and that's how you get your path. Alright, so now that you have your path, we can work on the arch. So for the light blue part here. So what you can do is either use an online circle generator, or in Axiom, we have this shape tool. So I've already set it up a little bit. So we got a flat disk. We want separate X and Y, and then we want to go into rotations here. You want a 90 degree. So if I go like this, it's also hollow down here in the modifiers. So without it looks like this. So you want it to be a 90 degree pitch. Use that. Rotates it from being flat to being standing up on its side. Then you want to bring it below your bridge here. And then you want to play around with kind of the different width of it. So you want it to basically be touching the cliff face on either side. It's a little easier when you have the whole cliff face. So I'm going to go to about this, so it goes to around the edges, maybe a little less. And then you want to choose how kind of steep you want your curve. Do you want it to be a very like thin one, sort of like this, or do you want it to be very like shallow and wide? It can depend on like what the materials you're using or what like your realism you want for this bridge. For this, I'm thinking about this. So I've got it just below. So then I'm going to paste that. So if I come into here, I'm now going to remove kind of these bottom bits. We don't need this area because this will go straight into kind of the ground here. And then I'll have the cliff face up on this side. So the next thing for this one, since this isn't just a straight path like this, it's curved, you kind of have to inset parts like this. So you see this part, lower my speed a little bit. So you can see I want this to be all underneath the path. So this one, I'm going to bring in one and then remove. So then like when I come up to here, it's all underneath. Kind of so that it's just not sticking out. You want it supporting the path itself. So you bring everything in so it's all directly underneath. And then what I did for this one is I then took the blue, dark blue, and I just went in by one, just so that it's underneath and there's a little bit of a gap. So after you finish all of that, you can then come in, use your noise painter, pick your different block palette. So for this one, I'm using the stone bricks and the cracked. Then you want to go for a block mask. So I'm going to choose the red. I lower the scale usually, and then you can just paint over. And that's kind of how I got this bridge up and going. Alright, now that we've finished off on doing the two bridges that are already in the world now for the builds, we're going to go on to some other ideas that I came up with whilst brainstorming for this video. So let's go and see those now. Alright, so here we are. Just a little fly through the whole thing. We're going to go in a little bit more in depth for each of the different bridge builds. So similar to the pathing video, I'm going to have a little block palette in the top right of the screen now. That comes from these little barrels here. So I placed together a block palette of everything that was used in the build so we can kind of go through and see each bit. So for this first one, it's kind of a Japanese Zen garden one. You got these little torii gates here. The mangrove looks really good for this color. And then using these ochre frog lights, just as a little bit lighting. It works especially well with these trapdoors, kind of gives it a nice circle. This one is kind of just a basic arch bridge, a little bit more flat than others, with a couple supports. So just some basic supports, and then you go with your arch with the different stairs and slabs. I'm using the dark oak because it really accents well with this red of the mangrove. Using these fences, just simple guardrails, and then the two torii gates on either side. Depending on how long you make the bridge, you can add in extra lighting with these little lampposts. So the deep slate walls with these fences, again using the frog lights surrounded by these trapdoors, and then just a deep slate brick slab on top. I also added a couple on the side here, so if we go into dark, so this looks really nice at night as well with all the different lighting techniques used. Alright, next up is this kind of rope bridge here. So I made these two little mountains on either side so we can connect at a higher place instead of directly over water. So coming up here, so I'm using these different spruce logs, kind of every so often you pick a place For these ones, it's a little bit more difficult when you kind of have it on an angle because it's not a directly straight path. I put a little bit of a curve into it. So you use these kind of like as braces along. You've got a couple that are just holding it on the edge. Then you kind of have your fence posts along the edge, kind of as the rope, because Minecraft doesn't have the best way of doing a rope bridge like that. Added these little buttons in here on each side for a little bit more detail. And then on the very edge, so instead of in the center where I've got these spruce planks and slabs, on the edge I'm using these dark oak slabs with these spruce trapdoors. These work really well when you put them on like this, so if you place them all together like this, it gets that chain effect. If you were to place it on this side, it doesn't look as well. So you want to choose this, and then it kind of makes it smooth together. I added in a couple of these just lanterns on the top bits, just for a little bit of lighting on top. And then if we grab into night, you can see that these glowberries, once placed, so you can grab a couple down. And then if you want to grow the berries, so you go to grab some bone meal. And you just click like that, and that'll grow on the vine. So just a little bit more of a natural lighting of it. I also added in these pale hanging moss just for a little bit more texture and detail in this thing. Next up down here is a little bit more of a simpler one. So this is just a natural kind of rock formation that's been used as a path to kind of get over places. So this one's just using stone and mossy as well as the slabs and stairs. I use those to kind of make it more of a walkable surface, so if you can kind of just walk up without having to jump, just makes it a little smoother on the edges there. For this one, you can kind of trace it just by building in the air like this. Or you can use mods like Axiom. You can use just using like this rock tool. So you place, and then you go across like this, and you kind of play around with the shape you want, shave off bits you don't like, and just kind of how you like that between the 2 points. You want to kind of give it a curve over so that the natural arch gives it a bit of natural structural support. Gives you a little bit underneath so you can still get beneath if you wanted to have like a little boat going under or through, or any of the fish that can swim through this area. Next up over here is the desert kind of area. So I started off with just using the base campfires, and then you put them out, so you extinguish them. First thing I did is I just made a simple path of that. After that, I went in with these spruce slabs and the trapdoors, kind of replace a couple, make it feel a little bit more rickety and like not maintained as well. And you can kind of remove some bits. So I took out a chunk here, and then I had it sort of like it fell down, and now it's down in the valley or the canyon here. Using these chains kind of as like supports, just to keep it somewhat safe. And then you kind of have to, when you have this, you have either kind of like a rock formation that it's been attached to, or a little bit more built up, like designed. It's like this is how it was built and this is still how it's going. And then I went in with like these little lampposts, kind of little mystic forest, using just a sandstone wall, and then the bamboo trapdoor and slab. And then I used a soul campfire opposed to a regular one, just for a little color difference. You can always add detail on its own. I've just got little cactuses and such on the bottom here, maybe a little skull. But the main part is the bridge itself, and then you got these little supports. Since it's kind of out in the desert, not really maintained, you don't have to make up strong supports for this one. Alright, now over here for the fallen tree path. So for this one, I spent a lot of time trying to design a tree on its side, but then I realized I had already got a quite large tree. As you can see, that's where I built them originally in that episode, episode 2. So I just took this tree and then just rotated it on its side. It still had the leaves on top, so you just have to shave off the bits to make it a path. And then I built an extended trunk. So I designed where it would break off from. You can kind of layer it back. So this one's kind of flat, so maybe you want to make this one more flat like this, just to match it. And then I just added in these quick little planks that someone's put down just so it's a little easier to get on and off of this little path here. For doing this, you can design any tree, and then you just select the tree. So I'll grab this now. So with this tree selected, you cut, and then similar to how I did the other things, you can rotate it. So you want to do it onto a 90. And then since this one's a little harder because it is on a kind of slope, you want to pick the side that you want. I kind of did it. It kind of works well because you want it to be like it hits down here and it's kind of still attached up over here. It's like all the leaves are holding it up here. It's barely hitting on here, so you can rotate it how you want. And that's how you get a natural tree bridge. Alright, and here we are for the final bridge of the video, the tower bridge. So this one's a little bit larger than the other ones I've built for this video, but any of these can be scaled up to the same size as this one. So first you want to pick and have your two different towers on either side, so you have something to connect to. They can be as big or as small as you want, or as detailed as you want. They don't always have to go over a river or a canyon. It could just be to connect two different buildings together. The first thing you want to do, come down inside here. You pick up a log and you just connect from either side. It's a lot easier when they're a straight path directly connected to each other instead of on an angle. But if you want that challenge, go for it. After that, I went in with these individual ones in between every so often. So I did it at intervals of 3. You can do it as often as you want or as sparingly as you want. Then at every single one, I went up and I added a support on each one that kind of goes all the way around with these little arches on each one. As you can see, I kind of used the different of the spruce for every single one just to accent each individual one. And then filled in with the oak stairs, and then I had slabs on top just so you can have a little bit more detail on top with these little sticking out bits. After that, you can use fences to hold in just for your safety, because you never want, for these kind of more built up ones, not the natural type ones, you want always a little guardrail on each side. I then went in with a little bit of lighting, just these lanterns every so often. You just pick how often you want. You could also grab like chains from the ceiling or any other type of lighting. Then after that, you want to worry about your arch. So similar to how I showed at the beginning of the video, you just create the top half of your circle. It doesn't even have to be the top half, it could be the top third or however you want it. So you just design it so that it goes into either side. You center it up on the center of the build. And then, so for this one, I kind of made it a little bit of a thicker one. So it's 2 blocks and then I have these little stairs to smooth it out. I then used some more braces in these oak logs every so often, just for more structural support of the whole thing. After that, I kind of went with this lattice structure of the fences, just because that's kind of how you could either go for the lattice structure or a solid block. This just seems to look a lot nicer this way. So to recap, in Minecraft, bridges can be more than just a way to get from point A to point B. They're a chance for you to tell a story. Think about who built the bridge. Is it man-made or formed by nature? This can shape everything from the materials used in the build to the overall shape of it. Then there's scale. A small rope bridge might sag slightly under the tension, while a grand build like the tower bridge can span large gaps whilst holding its shape thanks to the design of the build. Next up is the angle. Not every bridge has to go straight across. Shifting it to the side can change it up from the boring bridges you see everywhere else. It can also add a fun challenge to solve whilst building. Add railings or side supports for safety, even if it's just cosmetic. Small details like this, or lighting, can make your bridge feel more complete. You can experiment with different types: rope bridges, arch bridges, tower connecting bridges, fallen logs, or even magical floating ones. Each one serves a purpose and tells a different story in your world. So whether you're building a small bridge in your survival world, or a grand bridge in a creative world like me, every choice you make adds character to your world. Let me know in the comments what kind of bridges you've built, or ones you'd like to try in the future. If you've enjoyed this, drop a like, and subscribe for more videos coming soon. Until next time.